What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today it is another score predictions video. It is the Premier League. This time we're going to be predicting. We've already made it to match day 4. I tell you what, football is really going really quickly right now, and I tell you what, we've got a lot of football to talk about. We've even got midweek games going in the Premier League as well, so non-stop action, and I'm really loving it. This is what the prediction league currently looks like for the Premier League. It's safe to say I'm not doing so well in this one. In the Championship, I was top 2, but I'm top 17 in this league at the moment. I'm really struggling a little bit, but we have got a long season left. We've still got 34 game weeks left to predict, and it's not impossible for me to turn it around. But guys, if you want to enter the prediction league for free, all you got to do is enter your score predictions in the comments down below. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. It'll be amazing if we can get there as soon as we can. And please also share the channel too. That also really helps to grow this channel. But without any further ado, let's start predicting the Premier League weekend game. Let's start off this weekend by predicting Southampton versus Manchester United. Both were victorious in their last Premier League game with 2-1 wins. Southampton managing to beat Leicester by 2-1 after falling behind in their game, and had a great amount of power there. Che Adams getting 2 goals, who's been heavily linked with Everton quite recently. So I'm going to be very intrigued to see how that scenario goes round in the next couple of days or so, as Everton are crying out for a striker right now. Manchester United, of course, managed to beat Liverpool by 2-1. It was a very entertaining game. I've got to say, it was actually one of the more enjoyable games I saw between Man United and Liverpool in recent years, because it did feel like it was a little bit more equal. I think Liverpool were way below the pace, defensively looked very shambolic, but Manchester United were up for it. They played to their potential, they ran, and they actually out-sprinted Liverpool. And it was clear to me, for the fact that they really lost out in their sprints and their kilometres covered against Brentford, Eric Ten Hag demanded his team to run, and boy did they run, and they got a good result out of it. It's now going to be interesting to see, are they going to have that same intensity against Southampton? I do think Manchester United need to work on this mentality that they need to treat every single team in the Premier League like a Liverpool and really go for it. And I think if they do, Man United do have some dangerous options. Casemiro may start in his first debut game for Manchester United there, which I'll be intrigued to see how he gets on. As a prediction, I'm going to say that Manchester United will be better than what they were. They've currently got an awful away record. I think it's 9 straight defeats away from home. I think they'll end it, but I don't think they'll end it in a win so far. I think they still need a little bit of time to tweak things and get things right. I think Southampton, we cannot underestimate them. They've had an all-right start to the season, picking up their first win in 9 as well. So I'm going to say a 1-1 draw in this game, actually. Let me know what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Brentford versus Everton. I'm intrigued about this one because I do think both teams, on paper with their squad, you'd expect them to be in the lower part of the table come at the end of the season. But one team has definitely performed better in these opening couple of games, and that team is Brentford. They've won 1, drawn 1, and lost 1 so far. So 4 points in their opening 3 games. As with Everton, they've only picked up 1 point so far this season, and that came in their last game when it was a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest, and they had to rely on Demarai Gray getting an equaliser very late on as well. Everton were in danger to lose 3 games in a row, which is not great for them. They've made a handful of links and transfers, and they really do need to improve their squad, in my opinion, Everton. If they carry on with the squad that they've got, with the injuries compounding with it, I think Everton will be a favourite to get relegated at the moment. As with Brentford, I think they've actually made the right transfers. I don't think they changed their squad too much, and I do think the players that have adapted and have had 1 full season in the Premier League, I think I've definitely felt a lot better. And I thought Brentford were a little bit unlucky not to get anything against Fulham, actually. I think Fulham were the better team, but the fact that Brentford fought back from 2 goals down, it is showing that Brentford have got a new sense of grit about them. Their last home game, of course, was their 4-0 victory against Manchester United. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as that, as I think Everton will give them a game. But as a prediction, I'm thinking 2-0, but I'm actually going to change my mind and say a 2-1 victory to Brentford this time. I think Brentford will continue their decent start of the season, but let me know, guys, what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Brighton versus Leeds. Now, this game, I remember the last time these two teams played against each other, and it was one of the most dramatic games in the final couple of game weeks of the season. So I remember when Brighton took the lead against this Leeds United side late on, and then I think it was Strojkic, with that late equaliser, and everyone was running on the pitch going all crazy. It was an incredible moment, and I think when Leeds clutched that draw out, despite them being still one of the underdogs and actually would have compounded them to be in the bottom three in the final day of the season, I think it gave Leeds a bit boost actually going into their final game, and I definitely think that was one of the compelling reasons of why they survived. And I gotta say, Leeds so far this season have been pretty good, I'll tell you that for a fact. You know, they demolished Chelsea, and I'm not even exaggerating, demolished, and completely deserved 3 points at all. I can't excuse of what Chelsea did. I'll go on about them when I talk about them in their predictions against Leicester. But Leeds undoubtedly deserved it. I think one thing that really annoyed me was the lack of people praising Leeds. They were really, really good. And I think at home they've got a really, really good system about them. But away from home, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to react. Last time they were 2-0 up against Southampton and threw it away. And I think Brighton, they've been unbeaten so far this season as well. And they've been relatively good, picking up a home point actually against Newcastle, considering the damage they did to the champions Manchester City. I think Brighton have turned out to have a really good start as well this season. I can very much see that Brighton have already worked on the one area that they really struggled with last season, which was having strikers that just weren't clinical. They've been a lot more clinical so far, and I think that is one of the reasons why they've already got 2 wins on their belt and why they're unbeaten to this stage so far this season. As a prediction, I want to edge Brighton, you know. I think they've definitely got a bit of an edge, I think, with their squad and with them being at home. But I think Leeds have got something within them this season, you know. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, actually, in this game. I've got a very funny feeling that both these teams will draw. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next is Chelsea versus Leicester. Right, I'm looking forward to this because I'm going to really rip into my team right here. I mean, what was that? What was that performance against Leeds? It was disgraceful, and that's the only way to put it. The defenders looked very, very rusty. They looked way off the pace. And where was the determination in that midfield to win second balls? And the strikers just looked like they lacked faith in any delivery that went their way. They didn't produce the quality. No player was sprinting to try and make a marauding run. I felt Sterling was one of the very few players that actually, to be fair, tried to make a run, and he was unlucky to get a disallowed goal in the first half. But it's like where we concede, our heads drop. And Edouard Mendy, double facepalm moment there. I can't defend that. He David De Gea himself really in that moment there. And it's really, really sad actually, because I do think there is a real big amount of toxicity within this fan base, especially when things go wrong. And I am trying to hold back in terms of things what I can say as well, in case anyone takes it out of context or whatever. So I do think Chelsea need to unite. I want to see more battles won in the midfield and more forward runs, because we're having a real problem right now in creating chances and goals. You know, so far that is, you know, one game that we've scored 0 goals. The other game away from home, we scored 1 goal, which was against Everton. 1 away goal so far this season in 2 games. At home, to be fair, we've done all right. We actually had our best performance against Spurs. But similarly, we need to have this mentality for all games. There's no excuse for it. We can't Man United ourselves and, you know, only be hyped for one game. We got to be hyped for every game. It's a disgrace, really, that they really fell that far below their standards from the amazing performance they had against Spurs and deserving of a win to be absolutely shambolic against Leeds. It's absolutely disgraceful. That is really all I can say. But all in all, we'll talk about Leicester, where they themselves have had a pretty disgraceful start as well. They're currently in the relegation zone. Both of these teams will be under pressure, I would dare say, to get something in this game. So we could see this game being very, very tense. Leicester have actually played in Carabao Cup action as well, narrowly beating Stockport County in penalties. Something doesn't feel right with Leicester at the moment, and I think definitely the tension that is going to be between the two teams with the war of Wesley Fofana. I'm going to be very interested to see if he's even featured in Leicester's squad against Chelsea here. As a prediction, I think it'll be a draw, but what type of draw is it going to be? I'm either thinking it's going to be one or two ways. We'll either get a lorry load of goals and it'll be 2-2 or 3-3, or both teams will be very tentative and both teams will not want to concede unless they'll have most of the possession and then they won't make their forward runs and they'll be punished with a 0-0 draw. Sounds very realistic, but I actually want to see an entertaining game. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw actually in this game, and I'm hoping that I'm not incorrect with that. Guys, let me know what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Now, this is a really intriguing game, I think. Liverpool currently winless so far this season. Bournemouth have even picked up a win before Liverpool have. Liverpool have only picked up 2 points in their opening 3 games, 2 draws and a defeat. Their latest game actually against Manchester United was their first defeat of the season. And it really shocked me actually how poor they looked defensively. They looked really shoddy at times. Bournemouth definitely had a bit of a tough run in. You know, they had that incredible win they had against Aston Villa, a brilliant performance, but then they followed that up with defeat. 4-0 defeat to Man City, 3-0 defeat to Arsenal, and then they have Liverpool, which squads on paper, Liverpool should really be eating this Bournemouth team for breakfast. Unfortunately, I think this sort of great midfield performance we see all for the likes of Binning at the start of the season, I just think against the top 6, I should dare quote, I think they nullify them really well there. And I think Liverpool, this is the perfect game for them to see if they can really kickstart their season and to really start it in style as well. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a really good game actually. I think Bournemouth will compete, but I'm going to say Liverpool will edge it. I'm actually going to go for a 3-2 win to Liverpool, because I think their defence, Liverpool, has not been great so far this season, and I think Bournemouth could give it a little bit of a go, but I do think Liverpool will still edge victorious. But let me know, guys, what you think of that in the comments down below. Let's go into predict is Man City versus Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace do tend to get a good record against this Manchester City team. I remember them when they were one of the very few teams to beat Manchester City, you know, in a season, and I do think Patrick Vieira has done a really good job. And if I'm right in saying, I think Crystal Palace were unbeaten against Manchester City with Patrick Vieira in charge of Crystal Palace in last season actually. So Patrick Vieira's got a very good record against playing up against this team. And I do think it will be intriguing to see if it's going to be the same fortune. I do think Palace has still got some potential, but I think Man City, still with the options that they got, despite with some of the injuries that they have as well, I think they can field a squad capable enough of getting something there. But I do think it's going to be a very tough game for City. So as a prediction, I'm going to edge them, giving the benefit of the doubt with their squad depth. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Manchester City. But let me know what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. Let's go to predict is Arsenal versus Fulham. It's the late game on the Saturday. Now, this is, I think, Fulham's biggest test so far, actually. I thought Liverpool at home would be a big test, but actually, I think playing against 100% Arsenal so far, 9 points out of 9, top of the league Arsenal away from home, that is going to be very daunting for Fulham and Marco Silva. But they're still unbeaten at this stage of the season, and Fulham really have shown true grit for me. They've got something that I've seen of them that they've not had anywhere close in their last 2 Premier League seasons, which is determination, confidence, and I'm really liking that. I do think Fulham are now thinking, we deserve to be in this league, we're going to prove it, and I really like that attitude that they're going with this season. Arsenal, though, are playing some real champagne football, I like to call it. They're really playing some fluid stuff right now, and I do think Fulham will be an interesting, a bit of a different team that Arsenal played up against. Bert Neno actually returning to his former club as well, so I'm going to be intrigued to see how he gets on in goal for Fulham there. I think Arsenal will still continue on with their good form so far this season. Fulham have not been the best defensively, conceding 2 goals against Brentford, of course. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Arsenal. Let me know what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. And that will mean Arsenal will have 4 wins in a row. Incredible. Next game to predict is Aston Villa versus West Ham. It's the Claret Derby. And I do think both these teams have had a pretty poor start to the season. You know, there's no way to say it. I think with Aston Villa, with only 1 win so far this season, it's not looking really great for them. And in fact, if anything, it's looking pretty bleak for them right now. Yes, they got a Carabao Cup victory against Bolton as well, but there is definitely a bit of doubt now, especially in the fan base, whether Gerrard is the right man to take this team forward. Their squad on paper looks to be a team that really should be up there, but right now it is performing below standards for me, and I think for most people and most pundits as well. West Ham have had a disappointing start as well, but they have had a really tough start to the season based on the teams that they've had to play up against. They've recently just qualified for the Conference League as well, so potentially there could be a bit of fatigue getting into this game. I do think West Ham, based on their performances, have done all right. They were very unlucky not to get at least something against Nottingham Forest. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, I think. I think this game will be a natural close encounter, and I think both sides will cancel each other out. Let me know what you think about it, guys, in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Wolves versus Newcastle. Now, I am not seeing many goals in this game, I won't lie. I definitely think Newcastle, with them already being involved in a 0-0 draw so far this season, Wolves haven't really been prolific going forward either, to be honest. So I'm not really excited in terms of the outcome of this game so far. I do think it'll be intriguing to see if Wolves can start to really rise up the table. Wolves have had a pretty bad start to the season, to be honest, and actually a lot more people are thinking that Wolves might actually be down there in the relegation zone. Now, I wouldn't go that far yet, but if they really don't get their shift together, it really could be a tricky season for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Honestly, I think it's definitely going to be a testing season to see if they can master the pressure and to see if they can eventually get enough consistent performances to rise up the table. Newcastle, they've been linked with one of the transfers, of this week so far, which is going to be Alexander Isak from Real Sociedad. Not been confirmed, but it is very likely he could join them. Look, and if he does join them by the time this video comes out, definitely not going to be on time for this game, unfortunately. But I am intrigued to see if Newcastle can pull this off. I think this will be one of their very few big money deals so far this season, but Wolves really got to have a good response here. They're 18th place in the table, Wolves. They've really got to react to that. But as a prediction, however, I think Newcastle will continue their really good start to the season. They're currently unbeaten, and I think it'll stay that way. I'm going to say Newcastle pick up their second win of the season with a 1-0 away victory. Don't see many goals in that game, I won't lie. But guys, let me know what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. The final game to predict is Nottingham Forest versus Spurs. Now, I'm intrigued because both of these sides are going to play against each other in the Carabao Cup, not too far away actually. But I think Nottingham Forest, playing at the City Ground against a supposed top 6 team is what I've been waiting for since the start of the season. I really am intrigued to see if they can rise up to the challenge. Now, performance-wise, I'm still not sure how I feel about Nottingham Forest in the Premier League so far. And I don't even think it's down to them not spending enough players or money or whatever. I almost think, in a way, I think it's just too many changes. And unfortunately, they were kind of forced on this with the amount of players out of contract. And I do think a bit more organisation should have been made to try and keep those players on and better negotiating with that. But they did well, to be fair, to even make a team, and if anything, probably went a little bit overboard, honestly. And I do think that is having a very small effect, but I definitely think the signings have actually been the best part of this team so far. They just need to have enough training sessions to eventually gel together, and I think they will be a really good team, Forest, eventually. Spurs, they've been all right so far. They managed to get 2 wins and a draw so far this season. They didn't really have much of a threat. They played a Wolverhampton Wanderers side last time that's only scored 1 goal in their opening 3 games so far. So I do think Nottingham Forest will be a little bit more of a threat. They scored 2 goals in their opening 3 games, but they've not scored more than 2 goals in any of their Premier League games so far. So they've not been able to blow teams away so far. And I definitely think Spurs, with the experience that they got and how Conte likes to deal with these sorts of games, I do think Spurs may be okay here. I'm going to go for a narrow 2-0 away victory to Spurs, but I do think Nottingham Forest will give them 1 out of the 5, and I'll be really excited to see this one live, actually. Let me know, guys, what you think of those predictions in the comments down below. So, guys, that's my predictions done. that is my official predictions going into the prediction league for this weekend. You guys can also be involved if you comment your predictions in the comments down below. Let me know, guys, of your thoughts of this weekend's Premier League games. And yeah, that'll be it for me today. If you guys enjoyed it, please give the video a like. It just tremendously helps the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button. It really helps the growth of this channel. Please also share the channel too. That also really helps as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for Sony in this video. As always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.